Randall is celebrating his 36th birthday, as is Kevin, and as is Jack, and as is Kate. And we come to find out that these characters have more in common than just having a birthday on the same day. But he's at a particular crossroads in that he's been without his adopted father for quite some time now, and he's never known his biological father. So there's this hunger, this curiosity that he has and wishes to fulfill, and so he seeks out to find his biological father. And he and his wife have this conversation while they're watching their daughters play, and he's like, I just felt like it had to be now or it wasn't gonna happen. And so for me, the idea of like having a grandfather present for my children, something that, resonated with me personally, and also just like everything is perfect. Like what drives somebody who has everything that they want, or seemingly has everything they want? And he seems like he has the perfect life, but at the core of it, there's still a level of emptiness because he doesn't have that father figure present. So he finds William, his biological father, and is just furious and wants to say all of these things about everything that he's accomplished without him being present in his life, but at the same time, he can't keep himself from wanting to be close to him, which is a really sort of foreign place for Randall to be, because he's somebody who's very much in control, very type A, very together. So finding himself out of control in the pilot is going to be a really interesting experience throughout the course of the first season to see if can he find like stable footing, or is he just going to be off kilter the whole time that he's trying to acclimate this person to his life. There's a big billboard on Sunset and Crescent Heights that I'll drive up and see every once in a while, and I get giddy on the inside. And been watching the Olympics religiously, and they'll show previews for the show. And Fogelman himself will say, like, please, NBC, don't make people tired of us before we even get on the air. But the level of enthusiasm for the show is, you never could have anticipated. Like 90 million something views online and Facebook, et cetera. But I think that Dan really created something that people are yearning for in terms of something that feels really hopeful and positive that we're putting out into the world. And it's about life and the trials and tribulations that you have to go through in life. But at the end of the day, there is, there's something at the end of the tunnel. There's, a ray of light or sunshine that's coming through. And with everything that's in this golden age of television, there's so many things that skew towards the darkness of life and showing how things can be sort of bleak and underwhelming. And I think this sort of says like, yeah, that's true, but this is also what we can be. And I think people are responding to what they can be. When I read it, I was still shooting The People vs. O.J. Simpson, and I remember thinking to myself, this is the best pilot that I have ever read for network television. And immediately, when I saw that Dan was the person who wrote it, and I was like, oh, this dude wrote Crazy Stupid Love. Like, my wife and I love that movie. So there was just enthusiasm for the level of polish that came across, the level of humanity, the fact that it was something that was very much a character-driven project. It didn't need a gimmick per se in order to draw people in, but just the dramedy of life being so well executed on the page. And so the fact that I just worked with Glenn and John, our directors, on Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, got me access to a meeting with Dan early in the process. And I just got a chance to gush about, you read hundreds of scripts a year, some of them good, some of them not so good, but this one was exceptional. So the opportunity to be a part of it was it was a no-brainer. And for Randall in particular, looking for his biological father, I've been without my own father for about 30 years. He passed away when I was a young man. And so there's something that I could connect to in a very earnest way with wanting to have him be present. Like having all of these things transpiring in my life right now, and I have 2 children, and Randall has 2 children. I have a beautiful wife. Randall has a beautiful wife. His car and his home are probably a bit fancier than mine, but I have a car and I have a home. So to have all these sort of parallels and then also recognize how much more wonderful would things be if my dad were here, I think that's something that I can bring to that character as he sort of explores this relationship throughout the course of the first season. Randall looking for his biological father. Justin's character struggling with his own artistic integrity to take the money and run, or to stay true to what he believes in and step away. You have Milo and Mandy, who are becoming parents for the first time, parents of triplets. And you have Chrissy's character struggling with her weight and who she wants to be in the world and how she feels about herself. And so there's something that everyone, I believe, will be able to connect to. The pilot is so good. And at this particular point in time, I've only read the first 5 episodes. We're shooting episode 3 right now. And Carlos, they just get better. Like, I had to send a message to the hitmaker today, also known as Dan Fogelman. I said, dude, what you're creating has the potential to be really life-changing for so many people. And yeah, television is entertainment, but it can also educate us, teach us about ourselves and the world that we live in, and it can edify us, man. It can make us want to be the best version of ourselves possible. And when I read this show, it makes me want to be a better me. And I think it's going to have that same effect on everybody who watches it.